Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today we're coming to you from basically my main creative world. You can see all the crazy things out there in the distance. We just want to go through some science today, see what version of this farm might be better, see if the minecart version will be better, or if the kind of standard mob farm style in the rows will be better. So this is one of the earlier renditions of the minecart track here. Comes down a couple of steps. The issue with this is just the minecart traveled too far. This one here is switchbacks back and forth. So the minecart just travels too far before it actually gets spit out and the mob gets processed farther down. So we never even really made it that far into processing the mobs, just because I just really wasn't that happy with how it worked. So once you get into a style like this is when we started to introduce the water to try to move the mobs over closer to the tracks there. The biggest problem with this style here is you could still get spiders to spawn in here, because a spider could still spawn right there, and right there. So you could definitely still get some spiders in this kind of system here. But you know, this is just the beginning of the development, so I'll take you to the next. So this is my main creative world, and then I did just a bunch of test worlds. I did a lot of test worlds in from backups from the server, just so I could place it kind of where I thought I wanted it and build it up just to see what it looked like. So this is this one, and we're on to the next. All right, so here is the next iteration of the minecart style. So you can see to try to avoid the spider deal, we drop the spawning spaces down here. And then as long as that minecart's curving right here, it'll pick up all of these mobs across here. Anything that spawns. So of course then the only issue becomes the baby zombies. So then you need ways to kind of take care of the baby zombies. See, in this style here, you have the minecarts. They just come through one row, and we determine the size of the row. I think these should be 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, because you have 7 here and then 6, so that's why it's as long as it is, based on the water flowing there. So this was kind of the second solid iteration, to where you finally started to get to a spot where it looked good. You were able to start thinking about then how you're going to process the mobs. Like down in here, we're just trying to see, you know, how. See here, we were going back and forth side by side. You weren't dropping the minecarts down the same path. And this actually, now that I'm seeing that, this is a pretty good idea. I might have to consider this in a final design, because you can only drop the minecart on the track down here every so often, or it's gonna want to kick itself back the other way. So here's these, and there's one more, and that is the kind of final version, or not really the final version, but the version that's on a backup of the server. So we'll be right back. All right, here we are on a backup of the server. You can tell it's a backup because the flying machine isn't all the way down to the bottom, and the bottom here was just you know, filled out with air blocks. So I just use commands to remove the bottom. So the bottom, for the most part, is nice and smooth. So we're on the server, you know, there's all the little potholes from the bedrock. So in this one, we basically handle all the mobs We were trying to find a nice way to handle the return of the mine carts. So in this, you have a loading station to load the mine carts into chest mine carts, and we have 2 here. This was a pretty nice little system. It works well. The only issue is you just have a ton of hoppers in here to make it work. So actually, I'm going to turn it on just so you can see how it works. Just turn the mine carts on. The world is still in peaceful, so you won't see any mobs drop. See how close those mine carts came down together? That's really about as close as you want to be. And you don't even want to be that close, because if there's mobs in those, they could come down just a split second later, and then you get a pile up down here. So you can see how this little system works here. It's a nice little system, but again, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of hoppers here. So we had to come up with something better. So let's shut that off. Let all these mine carts finish running through. And then we'll head over to the last iteration that I'm working on now of this kind of system here, and we'll actually run it for a few minutes and see how many drops we get, because I want to compare it to the other style system to see just how many drops we get on each one, and maybe what one makes more sense to actually build in the world. So all right, here we are on another backup of the server. This is actually a backup of the last world that I showed you. I just basically cut everything below the spawner here out and redid the minecart return system here. This is much better. They just flow down the water stream and back up. And I just changed how the mobs are processed right now, just because I want to see how many drops we get in a few minutes. Probably let it run for 5 minutes. Just want to go over this real quick. So that, you know, your minecart comes down into here and you have your cauldron with the lava, so it turns back into item form and just flows right down through. This is our little system trying to take care of some of the baby zombies. You see the spawning spaces are all down in here. There's your water. The water is just, of course, to try to move the mob a little bit closer to the rail tracks, because every once in a while they'll spawn in the center, but they might just take a half a step, or another mob might bounce into them, but they might get pushed back a little bit, and then the minecart doesn't want to pick them up. So every once in a while we just have the water spit out here just to move the mob over. See, there it goes again. So this is basically all the same. We've increased the timings here a little bit. I'll turn this on, let it run, so you can see how the return system here works. And you'll see that the minecarts will be spaced out much better when they start coming down. You get a nice space in between each minecart, so if there are any mobs in it, they don't interfere with each other. And then you get every minecart back on most of the time. So each one of these chests, the one is for the 2 on the left and the other one is for the 2 on the right. So we stop this now. I'm going to come up here actually and shut off the lava too, so we can run this here in a minute. If I could hit the switch. Okay, so now if you come back up here, we can look here and you see the chest is all full again. And there's nothing in these. I've been keeping the chest full just so I can double check and make sure that we don't lose any of the minecarts, because if you're going to run a system like this, you don't want to have minecarts go missing here. So let me come back up here. Actually, I got to turn it back on. We're going to come down here. We're going to pop us into hard mode. And we we should be off to the races here. Put the free cam on. Yep, see, we got the mobs coming down. And right now, we're really not going to process them too much. We're just going to drop them and burn them. And see what happens. And I'm going to let this go for a few minutes. We'll poke around here. See how the mobs are spawning in here. See if we can catch a mob getting picked up. See, you got a creeper over there. He gets picked up. They generally get picked up pretty quick. You know, you'll have 3 mine carts in here at a time. You'll have one at the beginning, one at the end, and one in the middle. So it's pretty efficient. Not sure how efficient it is compared to your typical style mob farm, but we're gonna find out. So we're gonna let this run for a couple minutes and I'll be back. All right, that was about 5 minutes there. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come back down here, and we're gonna run up. We're gonna turn the lava on, and then we're gonna shut the mine carts off after a minute, and see what we have for some drops. So this is a new style, also, of processing the mobs here compared to what I had done before. It's a much quicker system. So you have a hole here in the under the water. There's nothing under the water here, so zombies and skeletons will fall down through this, but witches and creepers will just bob up and down here and then head straight down and drop down that chute over there, where all the zombies and skeletons, they'll all fall down in here. So that's how you begin to separate. See, the witches are something that I don't we don't really want the witches, but unfortunately I have to find a way to handle them and to get rid of them when we do get them. So we'll shut this off. We're going to watch all the mine carts come down through here. Then we're going to double check to make sure that we did get all of them back. And those chests up there should both be full. There's the rest of those going up. See, all of this up here can be redone too, so we'll have less hoppers. You know, I'll move the water stream. I'll send it this way instead of coming this way with it. So there, that one's full, and that one's full. So we did return everything. See, there's no mine carts in any of these up here. Oh, there is one mine cart in there. So we know this way that we're at least getting every minecart back. Alright, so let's check out and see. First of all, so these are for the baby zombies or chicken jockeys. Oh, see, you can hear a couple in here somewhere. So this is the problem, because you have to handle. So here's a baby zombie here. So I don't have anything on this one to handle the baby zombies. But I do here and over there. So let's see if we got one there. Nothing over there. Alright, then let's come down here and check what we got in these. See, unfortunately we did get 2 gunpowder there, so we got a couple creepers dropping in the wrong hole here. But interestingly enough, we didn't get anything else fall in this hole here, and either of these two here. Which usually, every other time I've run this, it's interesting, I'll get like 1 piece of rotten flesh. So I'll add these up, and we'll figure out how many drops we got. And then we'll go to the next one and see how many drops we get on that. Alright, here we are on another version of this. This is the version that I showed in the last episode with the kind of basic mob farm where you'll have the water come out here and knock the mobs down. I already moved the water down 1 block here so that the creepers should fall through it. I took out all of the cobwebs so that the mobs will be processed faster. I took all of this out so we shouldn't get in reinforcements. I just want to see how comparable this is to the other method. This one is going to separate the mobs completely, just because it's already built up. So I should mention the reason why we want to have a mob farm like this and we want to separate the mobs is because we want to be able to separate the zombies out, turn them into drown, call reinforcements, turn them into drown, get the copper out of that. We want to be able to turn the creepers and possibly get music discs, you know, switch a farm on, which actually I'll show you this later. If we put a skeleton here and turn this all on and have the creepers come this way, as soon as they step on this pressure plate, the skeleton over here will start shooting, trying to shoot the iron golem, and he'll hit the creeper and of course kill the creeper, and you'll get a music disc out of it. So, but right now we just have that bypass, so they'll go straight down. We want to be able to separate out the skeletons so we can turn some of them into strays, sometimes get the slowness arrows. It's not anything that I use right now, but someday, you never know, I might set up a trap or something and want to use slowness arrows for some reason. So we're going to come down here, and the lava's already off, so all I have to do is pop this into hard mode and this farm will start running. So I'm going to find a nice spot to watch this from, and we'll wait another 5 minutes and see what we have here. All right, there we go. That was 5 minutes. So we'll have to come back up here quick and turn the lava on. And of course, as I mentioned in the last episode, the lava is a little bit too far away, so it doesn't really take care of all the spawning spaces in there. So you still get a couple of mobs in here. I should mention that I was a little confused there in the last episode why all the skeletons weren't turning into strays, and it's a 7-second deal where they need their heads in the powdered snow, and then another 15 seconds after they start shaking to turn into a stray. And it's very odd because it seems like they've changed that now to where the skeleton's head has to be in the powdered snow for the whole 22 seconds, where before it was just 7 seconds, and if they started shaking, it didn't matter if their head was in the powdered snow or not. It's similar to a zombie turning into a drown. Now, I'm not sure if that's different or not, because the zombie turning into a drown is a 30-second timer and then a shake. So it's something I have to look at still, but it definitely seems different now from what 119.2 was compared to 120.1. All right, we're going to pop this back into peaceful, and then we're going to check all of our chests, see what we got. So that's interesting, not a lot there. Okay, we shouldn't have anything in there because nothing's going that way. There should be all of our gunpowder down here. Oh, and we did actually kill a couple of witches there. So for gunpowder, it's actually a little bit less. That's 97, where we had 113 in the other style. So let's see. I'll add all of this up and be right back. All right, so it's interesting because it seems like the minecart system is much faster in every way. There's almost, in every category, there's almost 20 more drops than in this system here. So, and I can tell you right now, this has a lot more spawning spaces than does the minecart system. You can see in here, you got 14 in each row. I think this was 10 high. Yeah, 10 high, and then 15 wide. So there's a lot of spawning spaces there. So that's 2,100 spawning spaces in this system here. And I'm sure it is a lot less in the other one. But we're going to figure that out as well. Obviously, if we can increase the spawning spaces in the other one, that would be great. But probably not going to be able to do that just based on how the minecarts fall. Unless I did a whole 2 more slices over, and I guess we'll see how it could fit in there. But the science continues. All right, so definitely right. There's almost 5 times more spawning spaces in the other style than this minecart style. There's 416 here, while there's 2,100 in the other. Here you have 13 spawning spaces in each row. You have 8 across and 4 high. So 416. Significantly less spawning spaces, but again, once you get them in a minecart, they don't count against the mob cap. So if you can get rid of them right away, then that takes care of the mob cap, and then you're spawning more by then. So this is definitely looking like the way to go. Just need to upgrade this system down here so that we can handle the mobs the way that we want to. So I'm going to work on that, and then I'll be back and show you what I got with that. All right, here we are in another test world, and I think this is the one that I'm going to go with. It's twice as high, and I'll probably build it twice as wide with the mine carts. So we'll go from the 400 and some spawning spaces to over 800 spawning spaces. So I just have to science up this drop here. I think I have to drop at least 10 blocks to get these carts going as quick as I can through here. So I'm going to build that up on the server. But for today, we're going to call this an episode. And I got to tear down what we already built on the server and then rebuild this up. So until then, have a great day, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks for watching.